Hello, my name is Aisha Alleman, and I had the privilege to interview Dr. Darcy S. Bragg, the Assistant Dean of Students in the Office of Student Affairs at Georgia Southwestern State University. Dr. Bragg is entering her 19th year in service to the students of GSW. She began her tenure at the university in the summer of 1996 at the age of 24. Dr. Bragg received her bachelor's degree in English from the University of Southern Mississippi. She began her career as a high school English teacher. Upon receiving her undergraduate degree, she learned of the Master of Education program in counseling and student personnel at her alma mater, and she decided to pursue it. After receiving her master's degree, she spent 1 year at the University of New Orleans as the residence hall manager before accepting her first assignment at GSW. Dr. Bragg went on to receive her PhD in Educational Policy Studies with an emphasis in higher education from Georgia State University. The Residence Hall Manager position at the University of New Orleans is the only other higher education position she's held outside of those she's filled at GSW. Dr. Bragg began her career at GSW as the Assistant Director of Residence Life. She worked in this position for 3 years, before being promoted to Director of Residence Life. Upon completing her 5th year at GSW, she was promoted to her current position as Assistant Dean of Students. As the Assistant Dean, Dr. Bragg reports to the Vice President of Student Affairs and supervises the Directors of Residence Life and Campus Life. Dr. Bragg also serves as the Student Conduct Officer. She is the contact for the Georgia Southwestern Parent Association and serves as adjunct professor of psychology for the South Georgia State College Entry Program, which is housed on the campus of GSW. Dr. Bragg stated the best parts of the job include having hands-on contact with students and creating events through her subordinate departments of residence life and campus life, helping students who are in trouble make positive life choices. And Dr. Bragg emphasizes that every day is different, so there is never a dull moment. In her capacity as Assistant Dean of Students, she encounters the worst parts of her job more often than she would like. They include emergency situations, dealing with the death of a student, and having to send students home on suspension, and the emotionally draining strain that each of these events bring. She reports that being highly satisfied with her current position in student affairs and higher education as a career choice. She says that she looks forward to coming to work each day. She hopes to finish her career strong, retiring from GSW. She states that one of her career goals is to receive licensed professional counselor credentials and open a counseling private practice. Dr. Bragg had some sage advice to give me. She said the job is rewarding, but be prepared to move. Most people have to move, she said, so be open-minded. She said that she feels that she's actually reached the height of her career as far as advancement is concerned. Unless the VP of Student Affairs leaves this position, she has no further level of advancement. Even if the position is vacated, in her experience, she has seen university officials at the highest levels being hired from the outside rather than being promoted from within. So again, she warns me that, it's possible that I may have to move elsewhere. Dr. Bragg also advised me to get as much experience as possible by helping and getting involved in other campus departments. This will serve well in a higher education employment search. It will show a myriad of experiences in different areas and increase your skill set. She also advised me to have balance. She said that many people don't maintain balance between home life and work life by working after hours and on weekends. She said that people just need to know when to call it quits. And her final piece of advice for me was to teach. She said that when you qualify for and find an opportunity to teach, do it. This will also increase your skill set and look great on a resume. Dr. Bragg directed me to GSW's website for the department's mission statement, which reads as follows. The DSA's mission is aimed toward the creation of campus environment which encourages students to develop autonomy, emotional maturity, values and appreciation of cultural differences, tolerance, and interpersonal skills through meaningful programs and services, as well as through interactions with students, faculty, staff, and others. The staff of the division is committed to working with students, faculty, and staff from all areas of the university to build an open, inclusive, intellectual, and collaborative community. The division is also engaged in developing and maintaining partnerships with external constituents. There are 6 areas of responsibility in the Division of Student Affairs. These areas fall directly under the direct supervision of the VP of Student Affairs. The other areas include health services, career services, financial aid, campus recreation, and counseling services. Campus life and residence life falls under the direct supervision of the Assistant Dean of Students, Dr. Bragg. In addition, the Director of Residence Life also supervises the Housing Coordinator and the Residence Life Coordinator. As stated, there are 6 areas within the division. There were 7 areas, however, the area of multicultural affairs and the 3 positions within this area were completely eliminated. There are 23 positions within the division, 2 are vacant, and there are 23 job titles. Here's a look at the organizational chart. Dr. Bragg is on the far left. You can see residence life and campus life under her. Dr. Bragg shared some major changes that have occurred in the Division of Student Affairs over the last few years. Admissions and Enrollment Management was a department under Student Affairs. It was split off from Student Affairs and became its own division. It became the Division of Admissions and Enrollment Management, headed by its own VP, the Vice President of Admissions and Enrollment Management. With this split came a loss of key roles within the department. The second major change was, as I stated before, the Office of Multicultural Affairs, which fell under Student Affairs, was completely eliminated along with 3 positions, and the responsibility for providing multicultural programming became the responsibility of the Campus Activity Board under the direct supervision of the Director of Campus Life, a department supervised by Dr. Bragg. The third major change occurred when the Dean of Students, who was promoted to Vice President of Admissions and Enrollment Management, the position that she held was completely eliminated as well. The fourth change was that the number of residence life coordinators dropped from 2 to 1. While positions were being eliminated in Student Affairs, new positions were being created in the newly formed Admissions Division. The main issue or concern affecting this department, according to Dr. Bragg, is working with a reduced number of staff members. There have been other budget cuts as well, so they have been forced to make it work with limited resources. Also, there is a vacant position in counseling services. At the moment, it will remain vacant and has been vacant for a while. But the housing coordinator position in the Department of Residence Life, which was recently vacated, is being advertised so that it can be filled soon. So the department is really feeling the effects of the lack of resources. Another issue is budget cuts. Dr. Bragg stated that there have been significant budget cuts in the department. There is no budget in her office as in her capacity as the student conduct officer. There are, however, funds provided by fees imposed on students for the violation of the Code of Conduct. The money that funds the campus programming by Campus Life comes from the student activity fee charged to the student each semester. An interesting fact that Dr. Bragg noted is that the Student Government Association sets the budget and decides what amount of the campus activity fee goes to the Campus Activity Board and each student organization. She said that there is a small amount of about $3,000 allotted for the Parent Association. Residence Life has the largest budget, which is set and controlled by the Division of Business and Finance. Although cuts have been significant, the department is on budget, but could do more with an increase in funding. And the most apparent financial need is programming provided by the Campus Activity Board. I asked Dr. Bragg what has been the department's biggest accomplishment in the last 5 years. She stated that the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Other Drug Task Force, which is an organization in which she is the chair, created an original program called Social Responsibility that helps students identify risky versus responsible behavior. It includes information on how to properly navigate social media. The program has had a positive impact on her students. Dr. Bragg and her associate in Campus Life are also proud of the creation of what has become a GSW tradition, and that is Student Appreciation Day. And this is a day where faculty and staff serve food, provide other outdoor activities, and give away t-shirts and other gifts to the students. Dr. Bragg stated that she's also proud of the ever-increasing 1,500-member Parent Association. She is elated to have so many parents to reach out. The department's biggest difficulty in the last 5 years has been the loss of key positions and funding. Major plans for the department include filling the vacant position for the counselor in counseling services. And lastly, Dr. Bragg feels that the major issue facing higher education today is student apathy. Students don't socialize the way they used to, she says, and Facebook and social media have changed the dynamics of socialization and communication, and this to her has its good and bad points. So what was my reaction to what I heard during this interview? Well, first, I was pleased to have had the opportunity to speak to Dr. Bragg. I had a very interesting and informative conversation. I was surprised to hear of all the changes that took place over the years, especially the splitting off of admissions and enrollment management from student affairs. Georgia Southwestern is unique in that they have gone against the trend in that aspect. As Dr. Bragg stated, many schools are moving toward placing admissions and enrollment management under the Division of Student Affairs. In speaking with Dr. Bragg, I find her to be a person who is committed to her job and to the students of GSW. Her demeanor exudes the care and concern she has for the well-being of the students she serves. Would I like to work for Dr. Bragg? I would say yes. I can imagine it is difficult to work with limited resources, but Dr. Bragg and her team has made it work through the years. And to me, that displays the strength of the team and the skill and ability of the team members. Experiencing loss and still being able to be successful and still experience longevity shows that you're the right one for the job. So Dr. Bragg could have quit, but I can tell she loves and is dedicated to her job. And that type of individual, in my opinion, would make a great boss. Would I like to work in the Division of Student Affairs? I would say absolutely. I would love to work in Campus Life because I love to be creative and I love planning activities and events. Then I still get to work in a higher education setting, which I love. Student Affairs has the opportunity to have more contact with the students, and I think that working there would be rewarding and very interesting. My overall assessment of this interview experience is positive. It was a good educational experience. I learned a lot. I got sage advice from an experienced higher education professional, and it helped reassure me that I chose the right career path. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.